Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the regular scheduled council meeting for Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. Let the record show all councilors are present. At this time, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under adds and deletes, we have department committee reports number 3A. Could I have approval of the agenda?
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Councilor Schweberger.
Support.
Support by Councilor Bayless. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We'll move on to approval of minutes. Approve the minutes of the regular Hibbing City Council meeting of January 8th, 2025. Wishes of the council.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Councilor Faso.
Support.
Support by Councilor Hoffman-Sockman. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. 2, move to approve the minutes of the Hibbing City Council workshop meeting of January 8th, 2025. Wishes of the council.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Councilor Schweberger.
Support.
Support by Councilor Hildebrand. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Move on to next consent agenda. Number 1, approve the accounts payable checks number 179179 through 179271, dated 1/17/2025, in the amount of $721,739.17. 2, approve the city payroll ending January 10th, 2025, in the amount of $606,363.14. 3, accept and place on file December 2024 Hibbing Police Activity Report. 4, approve the updated maintenance lead job description. 5, authorize the posting of 1 full-time maintenance lead. 6, authorize the hire of Lee Deseret as the paid-on-call firefighter position pending pre-employment contingencies. 7, authorize the hire of Gary Stark for temporary seasonal maintenance pending pre-employment contingencies. 8, approve the advancement of Cal Horton to Sergeant 2 with the Hibbing Police Department effective January 23rd, 2025. 9, approve the annual funding request to the Hibbing Area Transit and Senior Center for the Mindview operations. 10, authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the city administrator's employment agreement between the city of Hibbing and Greg Persinski effective January 1st, 2025. 11, approve the resolution 2501-07 in support of the city of Hibbing applying for and acting as fiscal agent to accept funds from the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund for Hibbing Cary Lake Recreational Area Project. 12, approve the promotion of Cassie Tomasetti to Accountant 1 effective January 23rd, 2025. 13, eliminate 1 full-time accounting clerk position effective January 23rd, 2025. 14, approve the raffle permit application request for the Hibbing Little League Incorporated to hold their raffle on Friday, July 25th, 2025 at the Hibbing Little League Field. 15, approve the raffle permit application request of the Greenhaven Parent Teachers Organization to hold their raffle on February 28th, 2025 at the Greenhaven School. 16, approve the raffle permit application request of the Hibbing Cheer Boosters to hold their raffle on February 28th, 2025. 17, approve the raffle permit application request of the Hibbing High School Trap Shooting Team on Saturday, May 17th, 2025 at the Hibbing Trap Club. 18, approve the temporary on-sale liquor license application at Boomtown Group Catering to dispense alcohol at the Minnesota North College Hibbing campus on Friday, January 23rd, 2025. 19, approve the special event permit application of Vintage Iron on the Range snowmobile ride to Palmer's Tavern on Saturday, February 15th, 2025. 20, approve the second-hand good dealer application of Eco ATM LLC and Sean Flattery at 12080 Highway 169 West, Hibbing, Minnesota, inside Walmart 2937, pending successful background check. 21, authorize the Hibbing City Council to attend the Habitat for Humanity dinner on Thursday, February 27th, 2025 at the Mountain Iron Community Center. 22, set the next regular Hibbing City Council meeting for Wednesday, February 5th, 2025 at 5 p.m. in the Hibbing City Council chambers. Lastly, 23 is set the next Hibbing City Council workshop meeting for Wednesday, February 5th, 2025, following the regular city council meeting at 5 p.m. in the Hibbing City Hall Council chambers. Hearing all wishes of the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read and published.
We have a motion by Councilor Hoffman Sockman. Support?
Support.
Support by Councilor Fossil. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. At this time, we do have public forum, and we do have one person to speak. Ms. Brock, if you would please come forward and state your name and address.
Sherry Mikich Brock, 3649 South Pintar Road.
Very good. And Sherry, you'll have 5 minutes. I will clock that on my phone.
I'm sure you know who I am. I'm Sherry Mikich Brock from the Range Regional Animal Rescue, and I know that you all know where that is. First off, I want to thank you all for giving us the opportunity to voice our concern regarding the animal shelter and to share with you some of the changes that we do plan on implementing moving forward, so we can continue to not only serve the law enforcement people with their issues that they have with different animals, but also the needs of the whole community. Whether it be a lost animal that has been picked up by our shelter, or a issue of neglect or abuse, and one which we have just had most recently, just these past few days ago, we had one come in that was in for severe neglect. He was brought in by animal control, and one of the employees, Missy, had stayed all day on Sunday, and she sat with him in a room, and she just was able to love on him and try to gain his trust. These are just some of the small things that are really big things when it comes to try to get these animals back to be able to be adopted out. And this is the type of facility that we need in our community. Hibbing needs this type of facility in this community, where the workers are able to give, to be able to provide all the accommodations on a daily basis, and know how to treat and know how to treat all the animals that come through the door, basically. And there's quite a few of them. I'm sure you all know that come through, not only for the PD, but just surrenders as well. So just to touch base on a few of the points that if you do continue to partner with Range Regional, these are some of the changes that we will be implementing. We would like to recruit more board members from different professions in the area, I guess. And we will also have a reorganization of our present board officers. The board will continue to provide the City of Hibbing with all the information that is required, as we do presently. Sheena gets the information now for all of the financial requirements and everything that's in with the bylaws that has to be sent to the city. We will be hiring an experienced manager to oversee the operation, something that we didn't have in the past, which was, I think, a huge part of our issues. We will have, actually, Alyssa, as you all know, did the policies and procedures to ensure that the employees and the staff know exactly what that is moving forward, what happens when you take an animal in. They're gonna know how to do all of that, thanks to Alyssa has done amazing work for us. We will strive for a license approval within 45 to 60 days. And we also want to engage with the community through community events, fundraising. We need to do fundraising, is critical for us. And we want to have a board that is fully engaged with the community, and do more community involvement. And we understand that this is an aggressive plan moving forward, but it's must be completed for the success of the organization. And I do feel that the people that we do have in place now, between the board members and the employees, that we will be able to accomplish great things at the shelter. So I also feel that with the revocation of the license, it has given us the opportunity to improve on many different levels at the shelter. So if we hope that you can entrust us with the future success of Range Regional Animal Rescue, and hopefully we will be bigger, better, and stronger if you give us the opportunity. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Sherry.
Not a
I
problem.
appreciate that.
You bet.
Any questions? Very good. We'll move on now to City Clerk, Department Committee reports. First, it'll be City Administrator, City Clerk, Deputy Administrator, Ms. Seppel.
Thank you, Mayor and councilors. Excuse me, before you, I have a lease that is between the City of Hibbing and the Chisholm-Hibbing Airport Authority. As you're aware, last week I attended the Airport Authority meeting, and the previous lease was between the Airport Authority and HIDA, which HIDA doesn't pay the bills for those, for anything related to the animal shelter. So we just wanted to kind of clean up our book of business, and so that's why they terminated the lease between HIDA and the Airport Authority. And then we went through, we had Andy Borland kind of clean up the lease a little bit, and we just need this between the City of Hibbing and the Airport Authority for the leased land. That is $400 per month. This lease only goes through what the previous lease time period was in 2028. So we're keeping everything as is, it's just the name change. And so the airport owns the property, the City of Hibbing owns the building, and then we maintain it. And the one thing that would change within this is that it's not just for a shelter. We also included that it's for an intake. So if we decide after 3, 6, 8 months, a year, or whatever the time period is, that we don't want to have an intake, we don't have to go back to the airport and have that changed. So everything would, it's for either way that the city would be going. And so I would just need approval on that, and then I would get the mayor and my own signature, and then we would get that back to the airport, and Barrett would sign it.
All right, hearing what Deputy Administrator, City Clerk, Ms. Seppel had to say, wishes of the council.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
before we vote, I'd like to ask Mr. Borland, will I have a conflict of interest if I vote here on this at this time?
Councilor Hoffman-Sockman, I don't believe so, because you're not getting any pecuniary interest as a result of agreeing to this provision, so I don't think you have a conflict in executing or agreeing to this lease. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. So, looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Councilor Schweberger,
Support.
support by Councilor Bayless. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
councilors.
We move on to Community Development Director, Ms. Olivanti. Good evening, Betsy.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Item A is to approve the professional services agreement with Miriam Carroll Consulting for services to submit the application for the Minnesota LCCMR grant. And the agreement would be in the amount of $3,862.50.
Okay, hearing what Ms. Olivanti had to say regarding Carroll Consulting, wishes of the council.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion approved by Councilor Bayless,
Support.
support by Councilor Hoffman-Sockman. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. B,
This item is to approve the publishing of the request for offer as presented pursuant to the policy on the sale of surplus real estate owned by the City of Hibbing. And the parcel is identified as 141-0040-0230 on Gust Erickson Road as ready for sale.
okay, hearing what Ms. Olivanti had to say, wishes of the council.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Councilor Fossil,
Support.
support by Councilor Hildebrand. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. C, Betsy.
Excellent. This item is to request approval of the resolution 250106, authorizing the internal loan for advance of certain costs in connection with a tax increment financing district. The city and the Hibbing Economic Development Authority are considering establishing a tax increment financing district which is anticipated to include certain lighted and underused real property at 2810 Diane Lane, Hibbing, Minnesota, and adjacent roads and rights-of-way pursuant to the Minnesota State statute as presented.
Okay, hearing what Ms. Olivanti had to say regarding resolution for tax increment.
Yep, 250106.
Yep. Wishes of council.
Motion to approve?
Motion approved by Counselor Fossil. Support. Support by Counselor Whitney. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. D. Betsy.
This item is to request to add additional funds from undesignated to the Land Acquisition Fund number 406. During the 2023 strategic planning process, a short-term goals platform and work plan was developed to guide the organization in coming years. The high priority goals were identified by a majority of the council as top priority and also received support from city staff. High priority goal number 5 is to acquire more property for economic development in the city of Hibbing. Thus, the Land Acquisition Fund must be maintained to ensure the ability to purchase property that supports the strategic vision of the city of Hibbing. The current fund balance at the end of 2024, as confirmed by our finance department, was approximately $335,000, with planned expenditures of $850,000 through the end of 2027. Thus, it is prudent to allocate additional funds from the undesignated fund balance to the Land Acquisition Fund at this time. There are 3 options that were presented in your packet for request tonight. Option A would be to transfer the larger amount of $1 million. Option B would be to transfer a lesser amount to allow for the purchase of 2810 Diane Lane and keep the fund whole through the end of 2025 only. And option C would be to transfer a lesser amount to authorize the purchase for 2810 Diane Lane and keep the fund whole through the end of 2027, which is the end of our commitments thus far for purchases. So tonight I would ask that you approve the addition of funds from undesignated to the Land Acquisition Fund 406 and specify which option you're authorizing.
Okay, councilors, hearing what Ms. Olivanti had to say. There's 3 options on the table right now. Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd kind of like to know what our finance
Yes,
director would
absolutely.
suggest as far as the best scenario.
Member Hoffman-Sockman, I guess I would recommend any commitments that we have outstanding currently, like our contract for deed that we have in place with Nortec Properties. We have those commitments already, as well as the upcoming purchase of Diane Lane. I would say for sure having that amount set aside for that would be my recommendation.
So that was B.
C.
C.
C. Okay, C.
Okay.
All right. All right, that's, great question, great recommendation by our finance director. Councilors, any other questions before I go to a motion? All right. Could we have a motion regarding the undesignated for land acquisition? Wishes of the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Councilor Hoffman-Sockman. Support?
Support.
Support by Councilor Schweberger.
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
is that for option C? Member
Yes, it is
Hoffman-Sockman?
for option C, and I was
Thank
going to ask if the minutes would reflect that as well, since it's not
Yeah.
on our agenda. Okay, thank you.
At this time, any other questions for Ms. Olivanti or Ms. Mullner, our finance director, regarding this decision? Hearing none? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. E, Betsy.
All right, so the final item before you tonight is to approve the resolution number 250103 to authorize a transfer of funds from the Land Acquisition Fund to the Hibbing Economic Development Authority to purchase 2810 Diane Lane, Hibbing, Minnesota, in the amount of $400,000. In 2023, the City Council and the Hibbing HRA collaborated on a housing needs analysis, which identified a number of factors for the need for additional housing units and preservation of current housing units. The City Council further undertook a strategic plan, which identifies the core strategy number 2, well-rounded, strong quality of life, quality housing stock that is affordable and accessible, and core strategy number 5, safe, secure, and valued community, where everyone feels they're an integral and involved part of the community with a safe place to live and raise a family. Therefore, the City Council has expressed interest in adding additional housing units to the city and is pursuing several projects to do so. Thus, when the former Jefferson School site came to the attention of city staff and officials as a potential property to repurchase for housing, the EDA board undertook a project to consider repurposing the Jefferson School site in the hopes to attract a developer to redevelop this former school building into housing. This work is ongoing, and the time has come to purchase the site to continue a redevelopment plan. Additionally, through the work of the EDA, we have 2 different developers that are interested in this site to reposition for housing at this time. I would request that you approve this resolution.
Okay, hearing what Ms. Olivanti had to say regarding the resolution to authorize transfer funds from the Land Acquisition Fund to the Hibbing Economic Development Authority. Wishes of the council.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Councilor Schweberger. Support?
Support.
Support by Councilor Hoffman Sockman. Any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I have a couple
Councilor Whitney.
questions for Ms. Olivanti.
Sure.
Will we get to okay, we acquire this land, but before anything, do we have say in the final, the blueprints, the project, what it's gonna look like, or how they're gonna develop it?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Whitney, absolutely. Because this has to go through a rezoning process. Right now, this parcel of land, the 10.5 acres, is zoned specifically for a bakery and a childcare. So to reposition any of this land for housing, it will have to go through a zoning process, and that will come before City Council to ratify the Planning and Zoning Commission's approvals as all other projects do.
Yeah, some, excuse me, some residents have reached out with concerns, of course, of increased
Correct.
traffic and more housing, whether it's gonna be done right, if is the HRA involved in this, or is this private developers?
This is a private developer at this time. One other item, there will be public hearings along the way through that rezoning process. So more of the plan will unfold and folks will have a chance to see it and understand it and have more information about it.
'Cause if I remember, my kids went to daycare there. There's one way in, one way out, is there a possibility for more access to that?
Yes, there are 2 entrances to that Diane Lane around the school site right now, but that will be part of the rezoning, and that redevelopment plan will look at the roadways, et cetera. That was why it was included in the TIF, in the interfund loan resolution that we approved earlier, because all of that traffic flow, et cetera, will all have to be looked at in order to design the right project for that area.
Very good, thank you.
Yes, Councilor Schweberger.
Betsy, can you maybe speak a little bit to the point of the childcare, how that whole process goes?
Sure. Mr. Mayor, Member Schweiberger. The childcare is a tenant in that building right now, and they are on a month-to-month lease. We have brought together a team of childcare collaboratives, so United Way, Northland Foundation, Northland SBDC, the First Children's Finance, a licensor, and a few other folks to consult with the childcare throughout this process. They will be looking at potential needs of the childcare, what their business model looks like, what they can afford for improvements, all of those sorts of things. The childcare will keep their families and their parents completely informed all along the way as well, before any decisions are made. But when the city purchases the building, one of the things that we have to do is give notice to the tenants that the building has been purchased and that we're going to work to potentially look at their space and if it's the best space for them long-term. If it doesn't end up being the best space for them long-term, the city will work with a relocation consultant to ensure that the childcare finds a new space and has some funding to renovate the space to suit their purposes and move into that new space. And we have been working very closely with the childcare since early December on that conversation. And they are partnering and collaborating with us all along the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good, thank you for the explanation. Any other questions, councilors? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you.
Move on to City Attorney, Mr. Borland.
Mayor, members of the council, I believe with part of your ad packet tonight is a proposed resolution calling for a public hearing to adopt a 5-year capital improvement plan. At last week's presentation with regard to the public safety building, you may have noticed that with some of the add-ons, that even with the the state funds and the sales tax, there may not be enough money necessary to cover everything that might happen. So one of the options potentially for the city is to adopt a capital improvement plan. In order to implement such a plan, you have to have a public hearing, and voters get a chance to challenge that if in fact they don't agree with, if the city does attempt to adopt one. But in order, bond council prepared this resolution as well as a notice of the public hearing, which are in the packet. So the procedure would be to call for a public hearing this evening for February 19th. That's your second meeting in February. This notice needs to get then published at least 14 days before that, but any time after today, which happens to be 28 days before that hearing. So that's what's in your packet this evening for consideration, so that the city can move forward and potentially have another option to fund your public safety building through a capital improvement plan.
Very good. Hearing what Mr. Borland had to say, and this capital 5-year improvement plan, this is addressing if we move with the existing site that we're looking at, improvements in the existing buildings, correct also? Yes, so that's what it's addressing, bringing all the I think they're mid-90s, I think was that, or is it mid-80s? Mid-90s, so bringing anything mid-90s to the same code of our new public safety building.
Correct.
So I just want people to understand that that's what we're addressing, is the rest of the buildings at the same time, and just to get it all done at the same time. All right, any other questions? Hearing what Mr. Borland had to say, wishes of the council.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Councilor Bayless.
Support.
Support by Councilor Fossil. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We move on now to Finance Director, Ms. Mullen.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. For item A, I'm asking council for approval of a 1% increase to the sewer and stormwater rates as was budgeted effective February 1st, 2025. Our most recently approved sewer rate study had called for a 1% year-over-year increase to the sewer fund revenues. We are currently undergoing an updated rate study. However, this increase was already incorporated into the 2025 budget, and so this would allow us to stay on track with our revenues so we don't fall behind on the revenues in that fund. So I'll answer any questions if the council has any. Otherwise, I'm asking for approval.
Okay, we'll look for, before we have questions, we'll look for a motion.
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Bayless.
Support.
Support by Councilor Hildebrand. Any discussions? I have one. Who does their study? Just so.
Baker Tilly.
Baker Tilly, so it is still, okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Move on to City Engineer, Mr. Story.
Mayor, Council, item A, I'm requesting council authorization to advertise and go out for public bids on bid package number 1 for our public safety building project. So bid package number 1 includes phases 1 and 2 of the project. Phase 1 is relocating the mechanical and electrical equipment from the building that is being demoed into a portion of the building that will remain, relocating the bulk oil storage tanks and compressor, and constructing stairs in the existing county shop so we can have access from the county shop to the big storage garage and the city offices. And then phase 2 of this project is the demolition of the existing county garage where the public safety building will sit. Most of you were here last week through the presentation. This will be funded through state bonding dollars, local sales tax. So we'd like to advertise for this the first week of February and then advertise for a recommended amount of time, I think it's 4 weeks, and then open bids after that and bring those bids back to City Council.
Very good. Hearing what Mr. Story had to say, wishes of the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Councilor Hoffman-Sockman. Support. Support by Councilor Whitney. Any discussion or any questions for Mr. Story? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. B, Jesse.
Mayor, Council, I'm offering resolution number 25-01-09, supporting a grant application for the Highway 169 corridor study. This is for a raised grant through the USDOT. This grant is actually through the Hibbing Public Utilities, looking at the corridor from the roundabout up to 13th Street on Highway 169. If awarded, the PUC will be responsible for community and agency agreement or engagement, safety and congestion analysis, utility analysis, concept development, concept evaluation, environmental documentation, and preliminary design. So I read through this, I talked to the city administrator about this, and I would like to, I support the city offering this resolution up. I think this is a good grant, and through the corridor study that MnDOT did, looking at the timeline for funding in the 5-year STIP, there's no project in there for that corridor. So we're looking at least 10 years out for a project, and this could potentially help us achieve funding for that project and get it going a little faster. So I'm asking for council approval.
Hearing what Mr. Story had to say regarding 169, our corridor from Highway 37 to 13th Street, I think it was. Wishes of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Councilor Bayless,
Support.
support by Councilor Fossil. Jesse, you said this is utilities corridor study is what we're doing here.
Well, it's a transportation grant
Okay.
through the US DOT, but it looks more at utilities, the function of the corridor, not just intersections
Yeah.
and crosswalks. So it looks at many more things than just traffic analysis for that corridor.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. At this time, we move on to bids and quotes.
Mayor? I'll
You'll
take-
be handling,
I'll take-
Jesse, you'll be handling Mr. Watson's? Yep, very good.
Mayor, council, I'm asking for the approval to purchase 100 300-gallon sanitation containers from Snyder Refuse. These are a budgeted item. The total amount is $42,850. There's a special type of can. We're replacing our steel side load cans using our Rapid Rail, our residential truck, to pick up these cans. So I'll be able to use one truck for more than one route. We can use
Okay.
commercial routes for this. There's 2 vendors that sell these, Snyder Refuse and McQueen Equipment. McQueen Equipment actually buys them from Snyder Refuse and sells them to us. So we're just gonna go right to them for the purchase. So I'm asking for council approval.
Okay, hearing what Mr. Story had to say regarding refuse containers purchase. Wishes of the council.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Councilor Whitney,
Support.
support by Councilor Hoffman Sockman. Any other discussion for Mr. Story? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Could I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Bayless,
Support.
support by Councilor Schweberger. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.